We are.
Give me a second here, sorry.
Okay.
Just want to make sure it comes on. It can sometimes take 35 seconds for it to connect.
Okay. Just let us know. They're waiting for it to connect, so hang on.
Okay.
Today we are here to give you the findings and rulings of the commission. We went through a lot of deliberation, a lot of consideration. There was so much discussion between the three of us, and we all come from different aspects of it. So I think we had a good relationship as far as being able to see the whole picture. And Joe DeJesus, who is the co-chairman, will present our findings to you.
I'm going to now present the findings of fact and rulings from the Civil Service Commission. An evidentiary hearing was held on April 29th and 30th, 2020, regarding the termination of the employment of Alfred Waterman from the Des Moines County Sheriff's Office. Personally appearing were the commission members, Judy Breck, Chair, Vice Chair, and Dwayne Worthy. Also personally present were the parties, Alfred Waterman with his attorney Curtis Dial, as well as the Des Moines County Sheriff Mike Johnstone and his counsel Skylar Linkeman. Following an internal investigation, Des Moines County Sheriff Johnstone advised Waterman of his termination and served him with a termination notice on April 8, 2020. The termination notice cited 4 grounds for termination, including insubordination, breach of integrity, failure to report alleged misconduct concerning another deputy, and unprofessional conduct. A copy of this letter was also filed with the commission. Pursuant to Iowa Code Section 341A-12, Waterman filed his notice of appeal of the termination action on April 14, 2020. Evidentiary hearing was then set for April 29th and 30th, 2020. Due to the governor's COVID-19 proclamation, the hearing, held in the third floor courtroom of the Des Moines County Courthouse, was live streamed in its entirety for the public. At the hearing, Johnstone presented testimony through several documentary exhibits, video and audio recordings, as well as a presentation of 8 witnesses, including Waterman and Johnstone. Waterman also submitted documentary evidence, video and audio recordings, and testimony. These are the commission's findings of fact. Alfred Waterman is a certified peace officer employed with the Des Moines County Sheriff's Office at the time of his termination. His assigned position was as the school resource officer for the Minneapolis School District. This issue began as a result of a text message sent by Waterman to Deputy Corey Whitaker, who was the school resource officer at the Danville Community School District, on February 12, 2020. On that date, Whitaker had been at the Minneapolis school to teach DARE classes. Shortly after leaving the school, he received a text from Waterman stating the following, and I quote, "Good morning. How was DARE? I just wanted to bring something to your attention. I've been stressing and talking to the students here about driving safety and completely stopping at stop signs. It's something that I've been monitoring during the week, and they're doing really good. I just had 3 different people approach me about you rolling through all 3 stop signs at the school and saying that's not right. We are being watched all the time, and I am asking for your cooperation. Thank you, sir, and have a great day." End quote. Whitaker then called Waterman, and during the course of the brief conversation, asked Waterman to advise who the 3 individuals were that had complained about him. Waterman advised that he was not going to provide that information. Unsatisfied with that response, Whitaker testified that he called both Sergeants Glenn Denning and Siegfried, who both advised him to make Lieutenant McEwen aware of the situation. The next day, Whitaker contacted Lieutenant Chad McEwen, who is the direct supervisor to both Waterman and Whitaker. Both Whitaker and McEwen testified that it was Whitaker's request that McEwen, quote, mediate a conversation between he and Waterman. McEwen then spoke with Waterman. During this conversation, Waterman advised that he had received 3 separate complaints from individuals that Whitaker had rolled through all 3 of the stop signs in front of the school. Waterman then clarified that it was the 2 temporary signs in front of the school and another at the intersection of Northfield and Iowa Streets. When asked for further information as to who the 3 persons were that had voiced their concerns to him, Waterman refused to provide any additional information and stated that they had asked to remain anonymous. He would not say they were students, parents, or faculty. McCune advised Waterman of the importance of being able to validate the complaints by confirming them with the 3 individuals. Waterman then indicated that the verbiage that was used in the text was not entirely correct, and the 3 individuals only complained regarding the 2 temporary signs, and that he had personally observed the violation in Northfield and Iowa after reviewing the school's video footage. McCune's efforts at mediation between Waterman and Whitaker did not yield any resolution. McCune then called Waterman later that evening and told him that he had until the 18th to speak with and advise the individuals who had voiced complaints that he would have to provide their names to his superiors and that he should speak to them about remaining anonymous. McCune then met with Waterman on the morning of February 18th outside the Mediapolis High School. For whatever reason, the meeting took place in McCune's patrol vehicle and was not recorded in any fashion. McCune again asked for the names of the persons that Waterman claimed had complained to him. Waterman advised that he had not spoken to them yet. He continued to refuse to provide information after being given a direct order by McCune 3 times. At this time, Waterman responded that, quote, "If you are ordering me to give you the names of the individuals that asked to remain anonymous, I am going to have to tell you there are no individuals," close quote. At this time, McCune relieved Waterman of his duties and placed him on administrative leave. Later that day, McCune and Lieutenant Williams then went to the Mediapolis High School and met with the IT director, who was able to provide them with the video footage from February 12, 2020, around the time that Whitaker left. According to McCune and Williams, they were not able to see anyone in the camera frame that would have seen Whitaker as he left the school. Lieutenant Williams returned to the Mediapolis High School on February 19, 2020, to review additional surveillance footage, particularly of Deputy Waterman's office area. Williams reviewed the video from approximately 10 a.m. when Waterman entered his office until he left the office at approximately 11:49 a.m. He also obtained videos from both cameras that showed Deputy Waterman's office, as well as a parking lot video from when Whitaker left the school on the 12th. The administrative interview took place on February 25th, 2020 at the Des Moines County Sheriff's Office. Present during that interview were Waterman, his attorney Curtis Dial, his union representative, as well as counsel for the Sheriff's Office, Lieutenant Williams and Sergeant Siegfried. Sergeant Siegfried conducted the interview, and while the tone of the interview was primarily accusatory in tone, Waterman again refused to provide any additional information regarding the identity of the 3 persons, other than to say he had spoken to them at a basketball game on February 17, 2020, and they wished to remain anonymous. This appears to contradict his earlier statement to Lieutenant McCune of February 18th that he had not yet spoken to them. It was also during this interview that Waterman states for the first time that the 3 people had complained to him 2 to 3 prior to the 12th and not on the 12th. Waterman went on to say that he got busy with other things and forgot about it until the 12th, when he saw what he believed to be Whitaker, quote, roll through a stop sign after leaving DARE class. Sergeant Siegfried and Lieutenant Williams also gave Waterman a direct order to provide the names of the 3 people. Waterman refused on the grounds that they had asked to remain anonymous. The administrative hearing was held on March 20th, 2020. Present at the hearing were Sheriff Johnstone, Chief Deputy Brett Grimshaw, Lieutenant McCune, Skylar Linkeman, attorney for the sheriff, Waterman, his attorney Kurt Dial, and Annika McVeigh, union representative. During examination by Mr. Linkeman, Waterman stated that he observed Whitaker, quote, roll through all 3 stop signs on February 12th by reviewing the cameras on his computer in his office. Waterman reiterated that the complaints he referred to in the initial text message to Whitaker actually occurred 2 to 3 weeks prior to February 12th. He clarified that the 3 individuals had complained to him about Whitaker running 2 of the 3 stop signs at the Mediapolis school. During the hearing, Sheriff Johnstone asked, then directs Waterman to provide him with the 3 names of the individuals he claims complained to him about Whitaker's driving. The alternative of Waterman providing the names to a neutral third party was even given so as to allow Waterman the opportunity to substantiate his claims without having to divulge the names to the sheriff or his department. Waterman ultimately refuses this alternative and stands on his refusal to provide the names of the persons on the grounds that they asked to remain anonymous. On April 8, 2020, Sheriff Johnstone terminated Deputy Waterman and issued him the notice of discharge. This is the Commission's ruling. The notice of discharge sets forth 4 allegations: insubordination, breach of integrity, failure to report alleged misconduct, and unprofessional conduct. This ruling addresses each issue as set forth. Regarding the insubordination claim, the evidence presented at hearing is overwhelming that during the period between February 17, 2020 through the date of his termination, Waterman was insubordinate to at least 3 of his command officers. Lieutenant McCune, Lieutenant Williams, and Sheriff Johnstone each testified that they individually gave direct order to Waterman to provide the identity of the 3 individuals Waterman alleges to have complained to him about Whitaker running stop signs in the school zone at the Mediapolis school. Des Moines County Sheriff's Policy 320.3, entered at hearing as Exhibit O, provides that deputies, quote, shall comply with lawful directives and orders from any office supervisor or person in position of authority, absent a reasonable and bona fide justification, close quote. The testimony of Waterman himself acknowledges that such orders were given. He further testified that he refused to provide any further information as to the, quote, complainants' identities other than they wished to remain anonymous, and he was honoring that request. The Commission, even if it were to accept Waterman's story regarding the 3 individuals, does not believe that this was a, quote, reasonable and bona fide justification to not follow the lawful directives of his superior officers. Therefore, the Commission finds that Waterman was, in fact, insubordinate on multiple occasions, beginning on February 18, 2020, when first directed to provide the identities of the individuals by Lieutenant McCune, and he continued in that insubordination until the date of his termination. Regarding the allegation of breach of integrity, the evidence presented at hearing provides a litany of inconsistent statements by Waterman regarding the existence of the, quote, 3 individuals he claims complained to him that Whitaker was, quote, rolling through stop signs, convinces the Commission that Waterman provided either false and or misleading statements during the course of this internal investigation. Des Moines County Sheriff's Policy 320.5.8, subsections A, C, and D, entered at hearing as Exhibit O, each provide that failing to disclose or misrepresenting material facts or making any false or misleading statements or being otherwise untruthful subjects an employee to discipline up to termination. First, the evidence presented at hearing was that Waterman, in his initial text message to Whitaker, was initially approached by 3 individuals shortly after Whitaker left the Mediapolis school on February 12th who complained of him running the 3 stop signs at the school. Waterman later told Lieutenant McCune the complaints were actually made about only 2 of the stop signs and that he personally observed the 3rd. Next, Waterman told McCune during their informal meeting on February 18, 2020, that he had not yet had the chance to speak with the 3 individuals yet regarding their position on remaining anonymous. However, during the administrative interview with Sergeant Siegfried and Lieutenant Williams, he stated that he had spoken to them at a basketball game on the 17th and they continued in their wish to remain anonymous. Lieutenant Williams' review of the video of the games did not yield anything to substantiate Waterman's claim. Also, during the administrative interview on February 25th, Waterman advised that the three people had not, in fact, approached him on February the 12th after Whitaker had left the Mediapolis school. It was at this time that he stated for the first time they had actually approached him 2 to 3 weeks prior, and he only remembered it on the 12th when he saw Whitaker, quote, roll through the stop sign at Northfield and Iowa streets. Then, during his administrative hearing on March 20th, Waterman states that he personally observed Whitaker not come to complete stops at all 3 stop signs at the school. Prior to this, his statements only indicated that he only personally observed the intersection of Northfield and Iowa. Throughout this process, the only consistency in Waterman's various statements is that there were, quote, 3 individuals informally complaining of Whitaker's failure to fully stop at stop signs in the Mediapolis school zone, and that these 3 individuals wish to remain anonymous. Therefore, the Commission finds that Waterman provided false and or misleading statements to his superior officers during the course of the administrative investigation in violation of the standards of conduct policy adopted by the Des Moines County Sheriff's Office. Regarding the allegation of failing to report alleged misconduct concerning another deputy, the evidence presented at hearing indicated that Waterman's first contact regarding Whitaker's alleged running of stop signs was not to his superior officers, but to Whitaker himself through the text message recited earlier in this ruling. At no time from when he claims the incidents were first reported to him by 3 individuals until he was first confronted by Lieutenant McEwen about the situation did Waterman advise any of his superior officers that he received any complaints or otherwise believed Whitaker was rolling through stop signs in the school zone at Mediapolis schools, even though he personally viewed what he believed was the same traffic violation. In fact, it was Whitaker who brought the matter to the attention of Lieutenant McEwen. Des Moines County Sheriff's Policy 320.5.9, recited on page 5 of Exhibit O, provides a, quote, failure of any member to promptly and fully report activities on the part of any other member where such activities may result in criminal prosecution or discipline under this policy, close quote, is a cause for discipline. Again, Waterman does not dispute that his first and only initiated contact with another member of the Sheriff's Office regarding what he believed to be traffic violations by Whitaker was to Whitaker himself. And while we admire what appeared to be an effort to avoid any formal action against Whitaker, Waterman still violated the policies of the Des Moines County Sheriff's Policy, which he conceded that he was aware of. Therefore, while the violation of the policy was minor, the Commission finds that Waterman did engage in misconduct by failing to report what he believed to be traffic violations by Whitaker, for example, failure to stop at multiple stop signs in the Mediapolis school zone to any of his superior officers, regarding the matter of unprofessional conduct. For the reasons set forth in the Commission's findings for breach of integrity, the Commission unanimously finds the Waterman engaged in unprofessional conduct as set forth in Des Moines County Sheriff's Policy 320.5.8, subsection I, and 320.5.9, subsection M. The Commission finds that the actions of Waterman, when taken in their entirety, constitute just cause for his termination. While the Commission notes that this appears to be Waterman's first disciplinary action, the magnitude of his behavior throughout this incident was sufficiently egregious to warrant termination of his employment. Therefore, the Commission unanimously finds good cause for termination beyond a preponderance of the evidence. Accordingly, the Commission unanimously affirms the termination of Alfred Waterman by the Des Moines County Sheriff for each of the grounds as set forth in the Notice of Termination dated April 8th, 2020.
Okay. Do we close?
Yes.
I'll take a motion to close this session, please.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion's been passed. This hearing is now closed.
Thank you.